Every single morning you wake up and do the same thing. And that one thing is making your belly fat impossible to lose. It is not the food you eat, it is not how much you walk, and it is not your age pulling. It is something far more dangerous happening inside your body before breakfast. After 60, your cortisol system and your insulin response work completely differently than they did in your 40s. And most people have no idea. That belly fat sitting around your organs right now is not regular fat. It is visceral fat, and it is actively damaging your heart, liver, and kidneys as we speak. We have seen patients do everything right, clean diet, daily walks, no sugar buying, and still their visceral fat kept growing because of this one overlooked morning trigger. Today we are going to discuss the single most dangerous morning mistake seniors over 60 make, and almost no one in the medical world is talking about it openly. In which session we will uncover exactly how this silent morning habit is locking visceral fat around your organs every single day without you feeling a single symptom. What I am about to show you is happening inside your body right now, Afito, and it starts the exact moment your alarm goes off every morning. Let me ask you something very direct right now. What is the absolute first thing you do the moment you open your eyes in the morning? Most seniors over 60 reach for their phone, sit up slowly, and spend the first 20 to 40 minutes lying or sitting in dim light without moving their body at all. The cortisol awakening response is one of the most powerful hormonal events your body runs every single day, Hal. And after 60, it becomes... During this window, your cortisol level is naturally at its single highest point of the day. This is a biological event called the cortisol awakening response. In a healthy younger body this morning, cortisol spike is actually useful. It sharpens focus, activates metabolism, and prepares your energy systems for the day ahead. But after 60, something critically and permanently different happens. Your cortisol awakening response becomes dysregulated and far more aggressive than your body can safely manage. When you remain still, stay in dim light, and avoid movement in that first 30-minute window, your cortisol stays dangerously elevated instead of completing its natural drop. This is not about stress in the emotional sense. This is about a precise biochemical signal your own hormone is sending to your belly fat cells before breakfast even begins. And here is where the real damage begins. Chronically elevated morning cortisol sends a direct chemical signal to your body to store fat, specifically in the abdominal region around your organs. This is not a theory or a wellness concept. Cortisol activates specific receptors inside visceral fat cells called glucocorticoid receptors that are far more concentrated in belly fat than anywhere else in your body. What this means in plain language is that your own stress hormone is telling your belly fat cells to grow, expand, and permanently lock in place. Every single morning you repeat this mistake. Now, here is what makes this even more alarming for anyone over 60. Cortisol simultaneously triggers an insulin spike, even before you have eaten a single bite of food. When we talk about insulin resistance in the morning context, we are not talking about diabetes. We are talking about a daily fat-locking cycle. This early morning insulin surge creates something called cellular insulin resistance, which means your fat cells stop responding to the signals that would normally allow stored fat to be released and burned. So by the time you actually sit down to eat breakfast, even if every item on your plate is perfectly healthy, your body is already locked in full fat storage mode because of what happened in those first 30 minutes. This is the hidden biological reason why so many seniors eat clean food, walk every single day, and still cannot shift the fat sitting stubbornly around their stomach, liver, and kidneys. Now I want you to understand what visceral fat actually is at a deeper level, because it is nothing like the soft fat you can pinch on the outside of your arms or thighs. Visceral fat is not passive stored energy, It is an active inflammatory factory operating inside your abdomen every hour of every day. Visceral fat is metabolically active tissue. It behaves almost like a rogue organ inside your body, constantly manufacturing and releasing inflammatory chemicals directly into your bloodstream 24 hours a day. These inflammatory signals are called cytokines, and they travel through your blood directly to your heart, your liver, your kidneys, and your brain, where they cause silent, progressive damage every single day. Research published in leading cardiology and metabolic medicine journals has confirmed that visceral fat accumulation is a stronger independent predictor of heart attack risk than total body weight, or even cholesterol numbers alone. Your liver and kidneys are working right now to keep you alive, PAMP. And if visceral fat is surrounding them, your liver is typically the first organ to suffer. Visceral fat physically surrounds the liver and forces it to process overwhelming amounts of excess fatty acids around the clock, leading to a condition called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Most seniors living with this condition have absolutely no obvious symptoms for years. No pain, no visible signs, just silent liver inflammation that slowly reduces the organ's ability to filter toxins and regulate your blood sugar. Your kidneys face a different but equally serious threat. Visceral fat compresses the renal arteries supplying blood to the kidneys, reduces circulation, and forces these organs to work under constant mechanical pressure, which directly accelerates age-related kidney decline. And your heart is carrying the heaviest burden of all, visceral fat deposits directly onto the outer surface of the heart itself, in a layer called epicardial fat, which disrupts the heart's electrical conduction rhythm and drives chronic inflammation of the coronary arteries. This is exactly why we see seniors who appear completely healthy on the outside suddenly experiencing cardiac events, rapid memory decline, and persistent unexplained fatigue. The visceral fat has been working silently against them for years. Now I want to shift your attention to the 3 corrective steps, because understanding the danger is only one half of what you genuinely need from this video today. Now I am going to give you 3 specific corrections, team. These are grounded in published research, and every single one of them can be implemented. The first correction must happen within 5 minutes of opening your eyes. It costs you nothing, requires no equipment, and takes less than 2 minutes to complete. The moment you wake up, you must expose your eyes and your skin to natural daylight, either by pulling your curtains fully open immediately or stepping outside for even 90 seconds. Natural morning light sends a precise signal to a structure in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your body's master biological clock, which immediately initiates the suppression of your cortisol awakening spike. Clinical studies show that just 2 minutes of natural light exposure within 5 minutes of waking reduces the cortisol awakening response by up to 23% in adults over the age of 60. That 23% reduction in morning cortisol translates directly into less activation of visceral fat receptors, less fat storage signaling, before you have even had a glass of water or taken a single step toward the kitchen. The movement correction is the one that surprises most of my patients the most, because the amount required to trigger a measurable metabolic shift is far less than anyone expects. The second correction must happen within the first 10 minutes of getting out of bed, and this one directly targets and interrupts the dangerous insulin surge problem. You must gently activate your large muscle groups, specifically your legs and your core, within 10 minutes of rising, even if only for 3 to 5 minutes of very simple movement. This does not mean going to a gym or doing a structured workout. It means 10 slow standing knee raises, 10 gentle wall push-ups, or simply walking to the end of your street and back at a comfortable pace. When you activate your leg muscles early in the morning, they immediately begin pulling glucose out of your bloodstream using a completely insulin-independent pathway, a process called GLUT4 translocation. This GLUT4 activation lowers your fasting insulin level before breakfast arrives, which directly signals your visceral fat cells to stop receiving the fat storage command they would otherwise be flooded with during that morning hormonal window. Seniors who consistently implement this morning movement habit have shown measurable reductions in visceral fat markers in clinical studies within just 8 weeks without making a single change to their diet. The third correction is the one I see make the most immediate difference in patients over 60, and it requires nothing more. The third correction is the one most people watching this have never heard before. And this one targets the cortisol and insulin cycle at the deepest hormonal root level. You must delay your first coffee or any caffeinated drink by at least 90 minutes after waking. And I already know this is going to feel like the hardest of the 3 corrections for most of you. Here is the precise reason this matters so deeply. Caffeine directly stimulates your adrenal glands to release cortisol, and when you consume it during the natural morning cortisol peak, it amplifies that spike by up to 67% above its baseline level. That means the coffee you reach for every morning, the one that feels like it is energizing and helping you, is actually multiplying the exact hormonal signal that is instructing your belly fat to stay locked and to keep expanding. By simply waiting 90 minutes, your cortisol will have completed its natural descent back to a safe baseline level. And at that point, caffeine works cooperatively with your body chemistry instead of amplifying a dangerous spike. Many patients who made only this single timing adjustment reported within 3 weeks that their daily energy became noticeably more stable, their afternoon hunger significantly decreased, and their waistline showed the first measurable change they had seen in months. Now let me bring all 3 of these corrections together so you carry a completely clear and actionable picture of what your mornings need to look like starting tomorrow. The moment you wake up, step toward natural light within 5 minutes. Activate your legs with gentle movement within 10 minutes, and hold your coffee for a full 90 minutes after rising. When these 3 corrections run together as a system, your body enters a metabolic state it may not have been in for years. These 3 steps working together create what researchers have called a hormonal reset window, a critical morning period where cortisol descends, insulin stabilizes, and your body transitions from active fat storage mode into fat release mode. This hormonal reset window is something your body is biologically capable of achieving every single morning, but it can only activate when you stop triggering the cortisol and insulin trap during those first critical minutes after waking. I want to be completely honest with you right now. These corrections will not dissolve fat overnight, and anyone who tells you otherwise is not giving you the truth. What they will do is stop your own body from actively working against you every single morning. And that shift alone is profoundly significant for anyone over 60 who has been stuck and frustrated for months or even years. The visceral fat surrounding your organs right now did not arrive overnight, and it will not disappear overnight. But it will begin to respond the moment you stop sending it the hormonal signal to stay and grow. I want to say this directly. If you have been doing everything right and still feeling stuck, the failure was never yours. It was the information you were not given. If you have been genuinely frustrated, if you have tried multiple diets, stayed consistent with exercise, and still nothing has moved, please understand that the problem was never your willpower and it was never a broken metabolism. The problem was a silent hormonal morning trap that nobody clearly explained to you. And now you have the exact biological understanding to begin correcting it starting with tomorrow morning. Before you close this video, I want you to do one simple thing that will take you less than 30 seconds right now. Write down these 3 steps somewhere visible that you will see the moment you wake up tomorrow.
Light within 5 minutes, movement within 10 minutes, no coffee for 90 minutes. These 3 lines written on a note placed beside your bed could genuinely and measurably change the direction of your health.
You now have the exact biological understanding of what has been happening every morning playing, and what you choose to do with tomorrow morning is entirely within your control.
If this information helped you today, please share this video with someone you care about over 60 who is still fighting belly fat without knowing this morning trap is working silently against them every single day. Our next video covers the exact foods that work with this hormonal reset window to accelerate visceral fat reduction after 60. Make sure you do not miss it by subscribing and hitting the notification bell right now.